It's time now to tackle the headline and talk about a late season guest. We have pulled the subs vest off Ben Waterworth from foxfooty.com.au.
You're more than a sub to me, Ben. It's okay.
Our draft specialist. You've had a look at the Under-18s Championship. You've run the microscope well and truly over this so that we don't have to, Ralphie. He's concocted the top 30 picks, Ben. I don't envy this job, but gee, there's some pretty fine young talent out there, isn't there?
It was a really hard top 30 to put together, Lauren, and it's a career highlight to be on Tackle the Headline, may I say, by the way. But really hard to put together this top 30 because I think it is a shallower draft, Ralphie, than what we've seen in previous years. So for mine, I thought that there's a really strong top 12, as we can see right here. The first six for mine, and there's the first five, rather, there's three academy players, or academy link players, two from the Gold Coast and one from Brisbane. I got Zeke Ulan at number one. Interestingly, he hasn't played a game this year, but think Errol Gordon as that sort of left-footed winger. He's an absolute star in the making. I reckon if Dan Annable, who's tied to Brisbane's academy, was part of Brisbane's list this year, he'd be playing right now for the reigning premiers.
In that midfield.
Which is scary, right?
That's right?
Considering they've got the Ashcross and Sam Marshall.
Give us a comparison.
There's no comparison because there's sort of no midfielder like him in terms of his inside-outside balance, ability to take territory. I asked recruiters that, and they couldn't find a comparison. And he's a leader as well. You can probably see him being a leader down the track as well. Willem Dersma, I think, is the best player in the open draft right now. So brother of Xavier Yasmin and Zane, and then Cooper Duff Tyler at number 5 for mine is a ruck at 200 centimetres, who I think was in the pick one conversation at the start of the year. Probably not now. The player I'm most excited about at the moment is Dylan Patterson from the Gold Coast Academy. And I just want to show you one goal, Lauren and Ralphie, from the National Under-18 Championships. This is the game on the line. He explodes out of the wing, takes on a couple of WA players, and then hits the kick to Max King on the lead. That leads to the game-winning goal for the Allies. That's when all players are tired on the field. His speed, his power, his agility. It is just something for Suns fans to get so excited about.
Well, the way that you have put it previously is he's almost Messiah-like, which is an incredible sign given the form that he's in.
Well, he wears the number 7 as well. And when he was playing for the AFL Academy earlier on this season, and I watched him sort of live for the first time, I thought, am I watching Messiah here?
Yeah.
A bit different, not as quite as silky with the skills, but he's seriously powerful. Rugby league background, and you can see why with the powerful movement through the quads.
Yeah.
So when you throw to the footage and you called that footage, you normally just let it bleed, you just let it sort of evolve, and then you start talking after it. Chris Yarran's the comparison, and that was amazing calling. Gold Coast is saying, oh, look, he's top 10 offence, top 50 defence. Does that matter? Is his best stuff so good that he'll be taken that high? Because I haven't seen him go at 4 another Phantom Draft.
Yeah, no, I think he's a top 5 pick now. I've spoken to a lot of recruiters about this, so I think he's a top 5 pick. And I'd have him ahead of the likes of these guys here. And I suppose from 6 to 12, this is where we start to see the championship-winning South Australian team start to feature in terms of Dyson Sharp, Sam Cumming and Mitch Marsh. The big mover, Ralphie, and you've been all over this storyline as well, is Harry Dean. So the son of Peter Dean, dual premiership blue, 193-centimetre defender. He is a seriously impressive player. I think he's the biggest bolter across the championships. I think he's sort of compared to maybe Cal Wilkie with the ability to play on different size forwards. But on Sunday against Vic Metro, he was playing for Vic Country, and he looked like a man against boys. And I spoke to one scout today who said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing round 1 for Carlton next year. And so pairing him with Jacob Wiedering is a really exciting prospect for the Blues.
And so this is a club, of course, that traded out their future first for Jagger Smith.
Yes.
So we know, of course, about Cody Walker. So you go Jagger Smith, someone like Dean as high as 7, and potentially Walker maybe top 5 next year, maybe even higher. Which
is really exciting. And it's also makes the Tom De Koning compensation pick even more important, Ralphie, because as it stands, the Blues traded up to ultimately get Jagger Smith last year. They don't hold a first-round pick at the moment. So if Tom De Koning leaves, as we all expect, that's going to be a pretty juicy first-round pick coming back the other way for Carlton. They might... there's talk about, do we try and trade it for an actual player that's already in the system? Maybe they might need to use it on Harry Dean, considering how well he's going at the moment.
You trade the pick early, and then, of course, you double dip. Now, the new bidding system is coming in, and we'll get to the other names in a second, but how challenging it will be for clubs to match the point system under the new DVI. Could you do it? Could you, obviously, get another player in and still find a point somehow for a pick as high as 7 for Harry Dean?
Can't be too late, because as it stands at the moment, the Blues don't have enough points to satisfy satisfy a bid, like a top 20 bid for Harry Dean at the moment. So it can't be too late, but they can be creative. There's ways to do it during the trade period as well. It is harder because the points only go up to the end of the third round now, so compared to into the 60s.
I mean, Mitch Marsh's nickname for commentators sorts itself. Of course, the Bison has to be looming large. Of course, he's the leading goal kicker from the championships. But tell us about Dyson Sharp, because he's just been edged out of that top 5. Yeah. He's obviously a leader of that South Australian winning outfit.
Some would have him, though, in the top 2, and some would have him at number 1. He's a bit of a polarising player. These are some highlights as a bottom major when he was playing last year. And as an under-16, he won the Kevin Sheen medal as the best player in the under-16 championships. He was a star last year for South Australia. And for mine, I think he was probably the best performer across the under-18 championships in terms of his abilities to be consistent. And I think he answered a few critics with his ability to perform on the outside. He's a typical inside midfielder at the moment, but his ability to win the ball on the outside, use his talent on the outside with his kicking, but also his leadership. He led South Australia to an undefeated 4-0 campaign. So for very, very impressive. The doubt on him is how high is his ceiling at AFL level, which I think is quite a common doubt, speaking to recruiters about Dyson Sharp. But I think West Coast fans very keen on the draft, and rightly so. I think they can see Dyson Sharp in blue and gold next year.
Yeah, we'll have a very quick look here at some other names to come from the under-18s. Pick us 2 from this list, Benny. And
we'll go to the players that are linked to the Victorian clubs. Adam Swade, who I've got at number 18, he's come with a bit of a rush. I think he probably would have been just outside first-round prospects at the start of the year. He missed all of last year with an ACL injury, but he's really strong at the contest, applies great pressure, can push forward as well. He was excellent for Vic Metro during their campaign. And I know you've been big on the Collingwood Tide players, Ralphie, throughout the season. Tom McGuan's obviously Mick McGuan's son. For mine, I think Zach McCarthy, a 199-centimetre ruck forward, is probably the first Collingwood Tide player that attracts a bid at the moment. He kicked 7 goals straight in Vic Metro's 2 wins. He's skinny at the moment, so he's certainly a development long-term prospect. But for mine, I think he's the first Collingwood Tide player in the rankings at the moment.
Question without notice for a bloke called Mick McGuan. Where does Tom sit right now? Is his stocks lifted or fallen across the
I don't think they've fallen. I think that there has been doubts around whether he's been a first rounder right throughout this season so far. But for mine, I would think he's probably in second round contention as it stands.
Yeah, I'm sure Mick will be watching this very, very closely, as we will, of course, this entire space. I was at Greg Swan's press conference yesterday on his first day at AFL House, compelling with him in the role now of what it's going to mean for the academy system. And as you say, this DVI, it seems like he's happy to let this run for maybe 2 or 3 years and see how things play out. Of course, Ben, you will be right across this space as you always are. That's it from us at Tackle the Headline. We'll see you next time.